because your people, do my people mountain climb as a whole?
13.
I mean, they might have in the past.
No, my people have never. You might have one or two of my people that do that, but collectively, your people climb rocks, jump off of. Do my people skydive?
Sure, nowadays, but I don't know what was going on thousands of years.
Well, that's what you got history for. So the thing that we're doing now, people have always done.
See if he understands what prophecies are.
So
Well, yeah, that's direct revelations of the divine. That's
So
like
then
something that intercedes in the nature.
So if a prophecy will be fulfilled or it won't be, right?
Yeah.
And it could be fulfilled through a people, right?
There's such a thing as a cold read, right? Like,
what do you mean by that?
you can say something vague and then something will do, like, oh, if I say the great towers of fire will fall in the coming future, that could be interpreted
I knew that.
anyway.
Like, the Bible doesn't work
break
like
down
that.
the origin of nigga, man.
No, the Bible has direct definitive.
Oh, give me an example.
Right. So Deuteronomy 28:68 says that this group of people will go into slavery again by slave ships.
Yeah.
That's not vague.
That's pretty vague. There's
No,
lots of
it's-
people who went into slavery.
No,
Not
incorrect.
by slave ships.
Not by slave ships.
And not as a nation.
That was
No.
something they did in Rome.
Tell
No.
me another nation that was sold by. Tell me one nation selling another
That's a long
nation
way of saying
into
they ass
slavery.
on another
Parthian
crazy, even
assassin.
with the
No,
insult.
no.
The who?
They
Parthian
ain't think
assassins.
of one thing themselves.
The Parthians, you talking about Greeks, right?
No, the Parthians were
They
the
ain't
equivalent
make
of
nothing but
modern
the
day
patent
Persians.
office, but they
Persian.
didn't make that either.
Yeah, Persians sold a lot of the slaves up to the Mediterranean during
No.
the Roman era.
So when you look at the
Well, you can't
Persians,
just say no.
the Persians was wiped out before Rome even came about.
No,
Greek.
this is Proto-Persia. That's why it's Parthia, not Persia. This is the place that were the people before the modern day conception of Persia came about.
Which was who?
The Parthians.
So Darius was a what?
Darius was a part, or I guess he was assassinated.
But he was. You have the Persian and the Mede captivity, correct?
What? I'm sorry.
The Persians and the Mede Empire, correct?
Should have
The
brought my
Medes.
drone out
I'm not
here,
familiar.
man.
Right. So when you look at the Persians and the Medes, Darius was a Medite, or they would say a Mede.
Oh, Midnight.
Right. So they started fighting who? The Greeks.
Probably a meeting.
Right. So they started fighting, or what we know as
The
today as
Median.
the Greeks. But they wasn't always the Greeks. They didn't become the Greeks until they pushed what we know today as Hawaiians or Japhet out of the land. So and then they took on the characteristics of being Greek. But before then, they wasn't known as Greek. Your people was known as Idomia or Edom.
Yeah, Edomite.
So before Rome even came about, the Greeks already had pushed those people out of
Wait,
their
I thought I
land.
was supposed to be Ephraim.
No, you,
Wow, there's a lot to take in here.
by Ephraim you mean who?
Ephraim, a different
Ephraim. Okay, that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah,
Ephraim. No.
different pronunciation.
So when you look in the Bible, it says Ephraim, where you will find these people in
I
a
don't think I'm
certain
going to be able to
landmass.
absorb. It's like some reading I can do, take some notes or something.
Well, the stuff that we're giving you, we haven't learned in one day.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So it.
I'm just learning about this. I
Right.
can't
So
keep up.
when you look
Just
at,
show him First Maccabees 1:1, man.
Yeah, do that.
So,
you don't fit no.
you gonna watch- you
characteristics
gonna-
for Ephraim, though.
that's what we were showing you in the Bible. It's a definitive that these group of people will go into this landmass by this particular way of transportation. That only happened to my people. Because even when you look at the so-called the Jewish people,
Yeah,
right?
the contemporary.
Right, the people that's in Israel now. Did they go into Israel by slave ships?
No.
No, right. They went into what we know as today as the Havara
Yeah,
agreement.
refuge.
Right, a Havara agreement. Even when you look at the studies that they did on the gas chamber, they found no poisonous substance to kill you. Only trace they found in the gas chamber was chemicals to treat lice.
Yeah, which is Cyclone B.
Right, so even the Havara agreement came about by the Balfour Declaration, which was set up in 1917. So when you read in the Bible, God said his people were going to slavery by cargo slave ships, not by a Havara agreement. So that's strike number one.
Crazy. Like,
So-
too far immediately go back to the person.
No, we can't. We fled. We fled Israel
Right.
because of 70 AD Roman
But it
persecution.
says you go in.
It said we're going to Egypt. Into Egypt.
But you didn't go in.
Yes, we did. America is spiritually Egypt.
Oh, America is Egypt.
It's spiritually.
Don't you think that could be a little vague?
No. You got a dollar on you? You don't have a dollar on
Just
you?
prove it to him. Revelations 11,
Yeah, I know,
man.
but
Oh, I see. You're going to do
we're being methodical.
on the dollar.
I understand what you're saying.
What else is on there?
The eye, the Illuminati
Right.
stuff,
So when you look on the back of a dollar,
What's the eye from?
what was this? What does this has to do with America? Why would America print this on the back of his money?
I don't know, Masonic people think it's affiliated with Egypt.
Right.
They following after the ways of Egypt.
What do America and Egypt really got in common?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could say the same thing about France. You say the same thing. They do
No,
pyramid stuff. They do pyramid stuff.
the main thing that America and Egypt got in common is the slavery of the Israelites.
Yep.
But they also do slavery. In
No, that's what it represents.
But they did slavery in France too. Right? It's the Americans.
What do you mean? How do you mean?
Well, they enslaved Algerians and sent them throughout Africa. These people called the Kofri, who were diasporized slaves throughout Africa who were taken to Algeria.
From where?
Algeria.
What time period?
This is roughly the same time, 17 to 1800.
Right. All
Same people.
Because all people
We
was
fled it.
taken from Britain as well, from England.
Yeah, you would think.
All people was taken from all over the world.
Same thing
because
happened to the Indian people. Why aren't Indians?
Indian where? In America?
Indian.
India?
Yeah, Indian slaves.
No, I don't never read history about them going into slavery.
Oh, you should read about it. There's like whole countries. The second largest Hindu majority country on the planet is in Africa.
Were they scattered all over the world?
Yeah. In Suriname, Mauritania, it's in really good Comoros.
But we're scattered all over the world. You can go to anywhere and find people that look like me or him.
You can find, I mean, you couldn't go to somewhere like Denmark.
Yeah, you
can
would.
find Indians over there.
You find my people over there too.
You're not many black people in Denmark.
You see, you're looking at color.
Oh, okay, so it's not a color-based thing.
No, because you got people that look like you, but has a father that look like me.
Yeah, mixed people.
That wouldn't be mixed because
Changed
you are who your father is.
I see.
So, like when you look in the Bible, Revelations 11:8 says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified." So, how many states are in America?
50 right now.
Right, but what is
Let's try to
another
bring in
name
some
for
sandwiches
America?
and whatnot.
United States.
Y'all hungry?
United. So what is united?
Who? We have to go tomorrow. We just went up to look at it and see if we wanted to
Which means they would
get
be
the loan
together,
for
correct?
it first.
Sure.
So on the grand scheme of things, people will look at America as being 50 states, but the God, he looked at America as one city.
Okay.
That's why he referred to it as the great city, the big city.
That just seems like a bit of a stretch. There are greater cities on the planet.
No,
Like
you're
China's got big cities.
you're not looking at it how it is being interpreted.
Well, it's
Talking about the whole country.
It's talking about the whole country.
You can say the same thing about any other country. I don't understand
No,
why it has
not,
to be this country.
not necessarily, because you watch anime.
No.
You know what anime is, right?
I mean, yeah, I know.
Who produces anime?
Japanese.
Why does Goku have blonde hair and blue eyes?
I have no idea.
Because they have the white man spirit on them.
Is that so?
It's Japanese cartoon, but this man has. When have you ever seen an Asian with blonde hair and blue eyes? Naturally,
Oh, naturally, never.
never.
I guess there's the genre. There's people
So
who-
if I'm watching Japanese cartoons, why do they look like John Smith?
I don't know, they're Europhiles. They like that sort of stuff.
No, it's because of the spirit that they placed on. So even though it's China, China still follows after America in a sense.
Yeah, but lots of people adopt other people's cultures.
But why would you do that if you have your own?
I
My
don't know, to
people,
learn
we
new
didn't.
Things. Ideas come from the synthesis of cultures.
Right, but that whole idea that you saying adopted, that adoption was forced on my people.
Yeah, I know.
That was forced on us.
Yeah, I know.
We wasn't in Jerusalem. We wasn't keeping Christianity.
No.
We wasn't celebrating Easter.
You ain't bring your chop
celebrate
up
Passover.
or
So
got
nowadays, my people, we celebrate Easter because that was forced on us. The same reason why when 4th of July comes about, my people was in slavery. But nowadays, my people cook out and grill and have flags around their houses like your people do.
We don't. Yeah. I get you.
So why should I celebrate 4th of July but when that came about I was a slave? I'm not free.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that.
I shouldn't. But we do. Because that spirit, I don't have to. I don't have to. Oh, okay.
What does he do?
I don't
no,
know.
we couldn't go up there and like blast off though.
I don't have to. But
You can go up there. And,
no, I'm not talking
not
about that.
yeah.
I'm just talking about the things that my people partake in, which have nothing
yeah,
to do
you've
with
had a lot of American culture forced on you unfairly.
Right. Nothing
Yeah,
to do
you've
with
had a lot of American culture forced on you unfairly.
Right. Nothing
Yeah,
to do
you've
with
had a lot of American culture forced on you unfairly.
Right. So why would I celebrate if I'm an Indian? Why would I celebrate Columbus Day?
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't. But people, those descendants do.
Yeah,
Why should I celebrate Thanksgiving?
you shouldn't.
I shouldn't. But my people, we do.
That sucks.
Because it shows you that a certain ideology that's on the man
Yeah,
has
you've
been
had American and like white culture
right
fairly
has
forced on
been
you.
forced on you. So that's which is why I pulled the why does Japanese animation have characters that look like white people?
Because they were occupied by white people for a very long time. So they adopted, sort of internalized a lot of white culture.
Well then,
They still have their culture.
right? They still got their culture
They still do. They internalize a lot of it, but a lot of it's forced on them.
because even let's take even being something as simple as a samurai. Even in their code, they say in order to be a true samurai, you must have some black in you. Why is that? Why do they say that?
I guess because dark, unpleasant, you have to be sort of rough to be a soldier.
Why is black considered with being rough and unpleasant?
It's shadows. They've never even seen black people.
No,
Except for
but
that one guy.
I saying have some black in you, I mean by people. They saying that your people, which we don't subscribe to being black because none of my people look like that. We're actually different shades of brown.
No, different shades of brown. If you want to speak literally, but it's a metaphor.
Well, why do I go by metaphors? But I
use
can
metaphors
see.
all the time. It's impossible.
But not when it comes to
understand.
nationality.
Yeah, no, not a nationality. That's why
Right.
I'm saying they don't think they're referring to a nationality or an ethnicity when they
Because-
say samurais have to have. black.
So would you agree that subconsciously my people have been taught to forget who they are?
Yeah, of course.
Why? You are correct. But why?
Well, because that was an attempt to try to assimilate you into a culture so you could be taken advantage of.
Bingo. Bingo.
How long have you known that?
My whole life.
How old are you?
21.
Goodness
21.
Who taught you that?
I just picked it up, you know.
Damn.
It's easily seen. Right?
But my people don't know. They do not consider.
Right.
Jeez.
So how long? You seem like a man that read a lot.
Yeah. My mom's a literature
Literature,
professor.
right? So, okay. So
In fact, she was an African American literature professor.
I bet. So we ask you these questions because it's the things that you can pick up on and recite or convey out of your mouth or your spirit. We can tell our people the same thing and they say no, that's not true.
Well, it's inconvenient to believe because if you have this narrative of I'm unfair, it's difficult. It's defeatist. It weighs down on you in a very negative way.
So why do you think the purpose for our people coming out here?
You got a box of
and the reason why I
flowers.
ask this question is because when 9/11 happened, right?
Yeah.
So-called some Arabs on the plane with box cutters.
Yeah.
They took over a plane, flew it into a building.
It doesn't all work out. Yeah.
Right, you catch my drift. Did America come out and protest and say white lives matter?
Yeah, he probably might.
They went over to
He
Afghanistan
probably
and they
might.
blew that place to smithereens, right?
Yeah.
Right. Let's go back a little bit farther. Let's take Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
When Japan felt disrespected by America, they woke those men up with bombs, right?
Yeah. Oh, you want to know a real interesting thing? You know who Eisenhower, the guy who blew it up, the guy who called it?
Right.
He was a Freemason.
I bet he was.
And you know what else? The cities that he blew up were the major Catholic centers of Japan. You know Freemasons hate the Catholics.
So I stay on the same tree, but I
Yeah, I
understand
know,
what
but
you're
they
saying.
still hate each other.
But my point is, when Japan did that to America, did your people wake up the next day and come out and say, stop killing us, white lives matter? Or did they go over to Nagasaki and Hiroshima and blow those people's shadows that still singed in the wall to this day?
The second.
Three days after the Hiroshima bomb, despite all the destruction, Japan still hadn't surrendered. A second bomb was made ready, and Truman issued another warning.
The world will note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, a military base. If Japan does not surrender, bombs will have to be dropped on war industries. I urge Japanese civilians to leave industrial cities immediately and save themselves from destruction. I realize the tragic significance of the atomic bomb. Having found the atomic bomb, we have used it. We have used it against those who attack us without warning at Pearl Harbor, against those who have starved and beaten and executed American prisoners of war, against those who have abandoned all pretense of obeying international laws of warfare. We have used it in order to shorten the agony of war, in order to save the lives of thousands and thousands of young Americans.
The second bomb was intended for the city of Kokura, but it was too cloudy, so the plane moved on to Nagasaki. Desperately short of fuel, the crew released the bomb despite more clouds. The bomb missed the aiming point and fell into a valley. This time there was no firestorm, but even so, more than 50,000 people were killed.
The second thing. That's two things. So, when my people have been destroyed since we came here on slave ships, let's just start with Martin Luther King. When our people are killed, when our people are done unjustly, why do we make signs and we come out in march and say, stop killing us? When no other nation on earth does that.
Yeah. Well, it's a method of complacency. Peaceful protest is sort of used as a, I guess what's the word? A damper, or
a pacifier,
a bifurcation for conflict.
Right, but
it's
no
an easy way to expend dissident energy without getting any results.
But no other nation.
You're exactly right, boy.
Right.
Without getting no results.
Say that one more time.
It's an easy way to get dissident energy out with no results.
So a mirage, or illusion,
it's just
so to
something
speak.
to tire you out.
Right, because we can clearly see no other nation on earth does that but us.
Sometimes the French protest, but this is similar.
Right, so the fact, would you say that the fact to keep us in a docile spirit is ultimately because of the puppy and the chain effect?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is why we're out here, to show our people that the way, right, the way you're going about getting justice is incorrect, because the same people that place their spirit on you, they don't do that.
Yo, talk to them.
Y'all go, America go tap some up. They gonna go tap some up.
Yeah, everybody.
Right, China, they gonna go tap some up.
Absolutely.
Everybody does but us. We say we shall overcome. It's gonna get better one day.
Yeah.
Change
the
the
whole thing about a protest.
Let me get some information,
it's
man.
an appeal to authority.
Right.
Please stop hurting us.
Right.
That's never worked.
Never worked.
Never.
Your people ain't gonna go out and vote and say stop it. Y'all gonna get the AR-15s and y'all gonna get it in.
Oh, definitely. Although I don't know, we got a pretty good place here.
Well, you should be. You've been ruling for us since Rome.
Yeah.
So my people have been taught to be docile. Because every time we get riled up, we get gifts and calm them down.
Or you put some protest effort, you put some effort out there.
Right.
What's it called? Like Skinner movements.
As soon as you see protesters, people marching for peaceful protests in the same event, they always tied into politics.
Yeah.
Vote. Don't forget, in order to change this, we gotta vote.
You only can fix things within the system. Don't try to do anything outside of it.
Right. Because we were taught to buy into the system.
Yeah.
And that's when you read this book, the book tells us to come out of her, my people, and receive none of her plagues. Because of the things America have done to my people and all over the world, the God says it's a judgment for that. So America tells you, like, if you kill somebody
Has anyone found a key in the grass? Sorry to interrupt.
Nah, we've been sitting here the whole time.
I know you've been here, yeah.
So when you look at America, right?
You want some car key?
No, it's my friend's house key.
America tells you what? You can kill somebody like in 1940, but if they find evidence that you did it, they can bring you up on charges, correct? What is this called?
Double jeopardy?
No, not double jeopardy. It's called something else. I forgot what it's called. What is it? Statute of limitations.
Oh, yeah.
There's no statute of limitations. There's no statute of limitations on murder.
Yeah.
Where clearly they got all this history. In order to make a movie like Nat Turner, you must understand that it was a slave and a slave master.
Yeah.
Well, even in a movie like those, you see that slave masters is putting people to death. So why haven't any slave charges or murder charges have been brought up if there's no statute of limitation on murder?
Because laws don't exist to be imposed; they exist to impose power.
According
well, no, they would all disagree with this.
Right, no, I'm saying, but, because I understand what you're saying, but those laws have loopholes, and they also have people they
It's not a loophole.
protect.
It's the intention. The law exists to be imposed on most people and broken by
Most
others.
people. unless you have a certain status quo where you can get around it.
Absolutely.
Because a person that look like me,
Well, it's even as simple as a traffic ticket, right?
right?
I'm fairly well off. I drive as fast as I want. I'll pay the fine.
Right.
And then I'll go home.
Well, somebody that look
But
like me
somebody
can
who's
get
poor,
caught. Can get caught with 10 pounds of marijuana and do 20 years in jail, and somebody that look like you can get caught with 15 pounds of cocaine and you do less time than me. No. I understand what you're saying, but I'm showing you this injustice even within the system.
Yeah.
So why should I continue to buy into a system where I automatically know it's injustice? Because when these things,
obviously you should.
when these things was being when these things was being written up, people that look like me was in slavery, correct? So why? So my people weren't allowed to vote until 20 something.
Yeah, 1927.
Like so, 1926. What the hell was my people doing? Not voting. So 1927. Now I'm able to vote. Why should I run out and vote when I clearly can see that 1927 looked like 1926?
Right.
Nothing has changed to this day. They just found a man lynched in California.
A lot of things got worse.
Exactly, because my people don't think that they're enslaved because they can call their local bank
It's less obvious.
and they can say, hey, you such and such, you have $60,000 in your bank account, you own a $300,000 house, and you drive a Mercedes-Benz. So you're gonna look at it as like, I'm doing well off for myself. But if I take a lion from the jungle and put him in a zoo, and 400 years later, his children are still there, that's not where they're from. They're still in captivity. Well, that's essentially what happened to my people. We was taken from our land and put in a place and made to be served. Made to serve. Not indentured service, but made to serve, because indentured service, they got paid. Indentured service stayed in the house. We stayed in the tent hut in the back. So one problem is what America is, they want to rush to, let's all get along and hold hands, but they sweep all the dirt under the rug. Well, you can't do that. I can't say that I love my wife and I get married and I still got that lustful spirit on me and sleeping with other women. I have to look in the mirror and say, no, something is wrong with me. I have to fix this. And that's the problem with America. America don't want to look in the mirror and say, no, let's stop. We have some things that we got to atone for. We got some things that we, even if you don't give us reparations, because that's not what I'm saying. You still have to look in the mirror and say, no, my forefathers did this. As a result of my forefathers doing this, this is how my people generated wealth, and which has caused the separation between these other people. And people don't want to do that because America tell my people to pull yourself up by your bootstrap, but your boots are busted and your laces are dry.
Also, it's literally impossible. You can't pull yourself. It's impossible.
Right, but like you were saying earlier, it's a metaphor. So how can I pull myself up by my bootstraps if you got a 400-year head start?
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair. So the God in this Bible, he say because your people did that, it's a judgment coming. That's why you see Space Force.
Oh, that's fair. I don't think he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Way too far on the outs. There's no way. It just shows. It's something he does to look cool.
I mean, he is who he is. He is who he is.
I gotta get going. I got a thing I gotta get to.
No, that's cool, man.
You guys got any recommended reading you got?
I don't know, man. Start with Lives Across America.
Lives Across America.
Yeah.
There's a really good book that I read recently, sort of about the role of black Freemasons and like their role in society. It's like this interesting thing about that. It's called Mumbo Jumbo, right? And like he's considered to be the progenitor of Afrofuturism as a genre. And so like I really enjoy it because I'm into that postmodern.
Right.
Check him out.
Right. Now, even when you look at black Freemasons, our people was never meant to be a part of that. Because that's when you look at Rosewood, a lot of those was black Freemasons, but the black Freemasons didn't get along with the white Freemasons.
No, they were segregated.
Right. So well, again, if that's something my people was
It's a
never
totally different institution.
right. If it's something my people never did, why should I partake in it?
So there were black Freemasons.
I know, but I'm talking about throughout history, when I look at the origin of my people, when I look at before my people had the white man mind, the white man mindset placed on them, we wasn't Freemasons. When I read in the Bible, David wasn't a Freemason.
No, there were no Freemasons.
Christ wasn't a Freemason. He wasn't a black Freemason.
There were no Freemasons.
So that's who that's who I'm supposed to follow after because that's my blueprint. So I wouldn't follow something like that because there's no truth in that.
Yeah.
That's to us. That's
saying it's a cool
right.
story.
Now I understand what you're saying. To us, that's Christianity.
Yeah, no, but it's a story about some. The Freemasons aren't the good guys. It's just a story about how that sort of thing like that.
Right. I understand what you're saying.
All right, well, I gotta head out.
All right, take it easy, man. Take it easy. When our people are killed, when our people are done unjustly, why do we make signs and we come out and march and say stop killing us? When no other nation on earth does that. But
It's
no
an easy way to expend dissident energy without getting any result.